rings. Okay, I've done this subject matter. I'm doing all the subject matters I've already done before. It's kind of like going back in time. Pretty much I've said everything I needed to say too, so see how long this goes. Of course, a lot of this information I'm putting out, it's like, take it or leave it. It's just, if many are not into it, they're just, then that's fine. It doesn't really matter. Just kind of wondering what I'm doing here then. But either way, the 1900, the World's Fairs in the 1900s. It's kind of like a lot of the history was erased, and those buildings were destroyed. So it's kind of a strange. It's almost like Arcturian energy to a certain level. It's the Tartarians is one thing, but this World Fairs is a little bit more, you can say, complex because it was recent. It wasn't that long ago. And all these structures are built. It looks like a pretty fascinating reality to live in, like with Chicago, one St. Louis. I think there's another one I'm not thinking of, but and that's during the 1900s. Just you can imagine all those structures being kept and preserved like they are now, like the old buildings from the past. And I would say we were living in a different world altogether, but it's like that. It's like either we're just not ready for it, or just somebody doesn't want us to have it. One of the two. It shows our potential, though. We still have to clear out the mental chaos that's here. That's what we're currently going through. So who knows when that'll happen. And I was going to do something about alien disclosure. Like one of the aliens, it'd be nice if the aliens would just show up and get it over with. And so we can move on with our lives, basically. And then we have to have rehab for them because a lot of them have issues. Of course, you're not always going to hear that from many places. Usually the aliens are talking down to people, which is kind of strange, and people take it like they need it, which they're just... It's like the aliens are at this higher dimension, like they're better than us or something, which that is not the case. They might be at a higher frequency, but a lot of them can't handle our reality. They can't handle our everyday problems. So I don't think many are thinking that deeply into that. They just want, and I heard this also today, which I wasn't looking for it. Like in 2 years, we're going to have these superpowers and all that. I guess if you keep saying that over and over again, it's kind of a mind control energy, and many just want that to happen. They don't want to experience what they're experiencing now, and they just want to move on with their lives and find out they've been duped. That's a hard one. Yeah, I'd be surprised how many podcasters are that's in the spiritual community, and even channelers are just telling people what they want to hear. I don't think people are picking up on that. They're not. So I'm not going to mention names there. Just because it's a nice cash flow, so just keep on the subject matter. So they start believing it too. So there's that. It's similar to like the religions. It all goes back to them in the long run. So truth hurts. See this world. Yeah, the World's Fair energy is just fascinating. Frequency overall. It's not talked about very often, but there's just an energy there that's been forgotten or buried, you can say. I know Chicago is one, St. Louis, and I'm just connected to those energies. Also connected to the Pleiadian beings. Just it's been a while, so I'm connected to them. Well, of course, I connected to them yesterday, but This is more like they have a headline here with it. I don't know what it's really doing anymore because kind of been there, done that. It's like there's not much they can do here. Are they going to show up and you know have that experience? I mean, obviously they're here through reincarnation and all that, but to have them show up on their ships and all that, yeah, they're not. When I feel that they're not ready for it. Well, because they might be peaceful and happy and whatever living in their wow land. Some of them might be under their own brave new world dictatorship of positivity. There's a lot of that out there, that's for sure. It's like, if you're not happy, you shouldn't be here. It's like, geez. It's like, yeah. Yeah, there is toxic positivity out there, even in the alien communities, and they know it. So a lot of them are psychos, so positive psychopaths. So, and then there's the Arcturians, and many put on the Arcturians on a pedestal, but they have a lot of issues themselves too, especially when they're talking down to people through their channelings. Like, what is that? It's like, and they're not. I mean, some of them are like little squeaky little beings. They don't have a body, and they can say whatever they want, but you bring them here into this incarnation to become a drug addict or mental problems. They can't handle this environment. And all the stuff they said where we can get to higher frequency, they probably won't do any of those things. They're a bunch of talk. Some of them are, not all of them. Some of them actually wised up, but there's a lot of them that are not there. So there's a lot people need to learn about these beings. Yeah, they're not perfect. They have their own issues. But that's one of the reasons why this world is the way it is, because they came here and they messed things up. Not all of them, but some of them did. So I don't know. Yeah, it's some of this. I mean, I guess you figure out in the afterlife. If you can't figure it out here, when you leave this world, you might figure it out, maybe. Because even there, you can, just like here, you can have your own way of looking at things. Like you can block things out. So you can. You say, hey, by the way, here's how this all works. Oh yeah, well, I'm not interested in that. I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I think. So whatever. Yeah. But the thing about the two, like if people are gonna have their superpowers in 2 years. I've dealt with somebody that believes that. And I think we're kind of in year one. So it's supposed to happen next year. Good luck with that. maybe they just keep saying that. Oh, it's going to be in 2 years, and it doesn't happen. It'd be in the next 2 years, and it doesn't happen. But that person had a lot of blocked energies and just literally believe things are going to get better in 2 years. It's like, don't you know this world? This is a chaos world. I guess there's keywords that some get trapped into. Like, you're going to have your superpowers. Well, that sounds good. My superpowers one day, whatever that is. And the world's going to be better in 2 years. Well, that sounds good too. It's like you get into this land of la la land and you just like leave reality. Some do. Religion's been doing that forever. So telling everybody how bad they are. They're going to get a lot of karma for that, but they keep. I think those that are running the religions, they keep recycling here over and over again. They can't get their act together for anything. You wonder if those that keep coming back, is those that are literally controlling the churches. They just keep, a lot of them, not all of them. Some of them just keep coming back. Just the same old. They can't get their act together, and yeah, you can. I'm not going to go into details of all of that. Child abuse and all that shit. Well, some of them, I don't know on that. Yeah, it's not looking good there. So IVSO.com, our private sessions, scheduler, webinar, social network behind the scenes. in the archive. Yeah, even the Jesuit energy is in the religions and everything. So lovely. That's a bunch of muck. So going to the World's Fair energies. I can't just whoever needs to come through on that level. So basically, it's a lost realm. Basically, it's a lost place. I guess I can show something here for those that are not. I wasn't going to do that, but I can do that real quick. Yeah, I did one of these. Like I said, I'm repeating myself anymore. I've kind of done said everything I needed to say, but let's see here. Yeah, Chicago. This is okay. New York. Yeah, well, that was more like a recent. New York was more recent. You never hear about World's Fairs anymore. These are more the ones. That's right. There was one in Paris. Yeah. It just has structures that were. Look at that. So it's like it's like a totally different world, and if we lived in a world more like this, I think people would feel a bit more alive. It'd just be a different. I mean, technically, yeah. Even this came from the World's Fair. I think that was connected to it, actually. Yeah, I mean, Eiffel Tower is freaking weird, but it does go well with all the other things that were created during that time period. It was just, it was just a different. It's a different realm altogether. So I guess that's still there. I guess. I don't know if that's still there, but yeah, it's just a different. Different. And this is supposed to be St. Louis. I know that's not there anymore. So it's just I don't know, just feel like we're living on a different planet. So anyway, let's see. It was yeah, it's all the Friends stuff. I already showed that. So I mean, this isn't everything, obviously, but it kind of gives you an idea of the energy back there. It's like a lost in time. It's just, and this isn't that long ago. So who knows? So one of the inventions. I think a lot of inventions are probably forgotten during that time, actually. All right, we'll see what we got there. So, all right, blessings. Here we go. Greetings. This is the higher consciousness of your reality. You say the timeline wards, timeline beings. It still comes down to humanity in your reality to choose. Now, obviously, not all of you chose it, but those that were controlling your realm, and realize those that control your timeline work towards it throughout previous lifetimes, kind of like being wizards of your reality. And as for the World's Fair frequency, yeah, it was deleted for a reason. Well, it's kind of giving you a glimpse of what you're capable of. You can say those that create it feel like, yes, it is. There's different ways of looking at this. Like the people of that era still exist, but on another Earth. This Earth, just like the Tartarian frequency, has a harder. You're going through a harder phase than others, as you can see. It's like that's all nice. All that fluff looks nice, but you can't have them. Not that to say all the good things can be removed from your timeline, but then again, that doesn't mean that's the end of it. It just shows how much of a controlling rule that's here. You see all the chaos here. It's not necessarily human. Many don't want anything to do with it. It's just there are beings here that are constantly torturing society. As you can see, if you look, it's not always a reptilian frequency either. You can say, yes, they're godlike beings if you want to go there. It's just, this world is not designed to be easy. It can be, but society has to get to a level where it has to pass several tests where the going gets easier. And right now, many are not up for it. So, yes, it connects more to the lower dimensions for now. Not all places, not every one. There are places where if you need the world's fair energy, for example, you can find it here in this world. It's not gone completely. But many are going through a lot of soul rehabilitation, soul awakenings. It's just, yes, there's nice things out there, and it can be, you can't have it, but it doesn't mean it's going to be for everybody. There's glimpses of all these things. So it's basically you're here to, kind of like beat this earth, you can say, to, not let it beat you down. I mean, you are here to do what you're here to do. Basically, you're here to win, you can say. It all depends. I mean, there's failed lives are more like, there's different ways of looking at that. It's just like, there's one thing when society just continues to reject what you want to bring here, and you tried your hardest. There's only so far you can go. It's like, okay, this world's not accepting anything I have. That's not necessarily a failure. It's just a society has a different way of doing things. So, like inventors that can create all these, like even like Tesla, does even society deserve? Now, you do have some of his stuff here currently, but obviously there's many other things he created that could have been brought into your reality. Was society ready for it? No. Does government have it? Does you even know what they're doing with it? Not really, no. They're not. Yeah, don't put them on a pedestal, please. I mean, some of them are actually good, but all of them are just as clueless as the rest of the world, actually. I mean, you think you make mistakes. The government makes all kinds of mistakes, but they don't have to pay for it. Well, depending. It gets back to them eventually. So there are just certain things that can't be brought, like Tesla's energy. We're just using him for example. If society, Tesla is here, society is not quite at that level. You can blame me with the government, but the society wasn't really there to balance it, to allow those creations to continue. It was at a Edison level, which is not a bad thing. It just wasn't at the Tesla frequency. So definitely ahead of his time. But yeah, his name and energy has been so manipulated in this reality. I don't think he's really that proud to have his name, not the way it's been used. I mean, there's some good parts of it, but then there's other parts like, just leave me alone. Like with the car, I don't think he wants his name there. So that's just... Greetings, Pleiadians. Blessings. The thing is with soul healing, basically realize you have a soul frequency. Many do want to, yes, jump out, go into the higher frequencies, but they're not always realizing what they're here for. And it doesn't mean you always have to know what. It's just basically here to, kind of like heal what you're here to fix, you can say. And what that is, some are, yes, they have all of these tasks they incarnate here to solve. and they can't. It might be a list of them. They can't even do one. So it's like they didn't think it was going to be this hard, and they get here. It's like, okay, maybe I can't do this. Kind of like putting a vacuum together. It's like you have all these spare parts everywhere, and you have to assemble it piece by piece. And it's like, I don't think I can do this. So it's like you're assembling yourself here, you could say, technically. Now, some are making accomplishments. It's not easy. If you can get one thing done that you're here to do, that's a big deal. And obviously, you're here. I mean, like having children is obviously a big deal. But are you going to learn the lessons of the children that they have to teach you? Sometimes that's not always the case. Some do. If you have your guard up, it's like, I'm the parent, you don't know anything, it's hard to learn there. But if you're more open and you learn from each other, you can go far. For example, on that one. As for the job situation that many have to go into, a lot of it is, yeah, it's like repetitive energy. It's like you're working the machine. It's part of the physical reality currently. And if you find an energy that works for you, even if it has a repetitiveness, it actually can help your energy become stronger. But if you don't like what you're doing, um, a lot of times you're at a job you don't like, but you're good at it. So there's that. It's like maybe you're just too good at it. It's like you're good at it. It's like the clog in the system. It's like you're just good at it. It's like, that's not a bad thing. It's like it's like, why am I doing this? Well, I mean, if you're doing a job you don't like, but you're doing a good job, technically, to the best of your ability. You can't sometimes zone out, completely understand because, there's other things. But overall, it's like giving back to humanity. It's like doing a job nobody wants, but other people can do something when they want. And you've probably done that in the past also. It's like, well, let's do the opposite. Let's do everything I don't like. But that's also giving to yourself. Let's put it that way. Let's let you figure that one out, what that means. That's Greens are the Arcturians? Greens? Yes, in your world. Energies. Yes, Arcturian beings, like any other being or anyone even on their planets, yes, can get to a high pedestal, basically a higher frequency. Well, or just a reality that's not so physical. Even those in the physical, yes, become wealthy here and become disconnected from society. You see that all the time, especially with celebrities. Obviously, there's many. Actually, have homeless people who are disconnected from reality. Actually, I'm not sure if this is funny. We have some homeless people that really are royalty, people of royalty, and they still look down on society. It's like some of them have treated humanity so poorly, and yes, and now they're on the streets. Now they can change that; they can make themselves better or whatever. But sometimes they're so bitter. Some of them are holding on to like they feel like they're better in society too. Just let that one sit for a little bit. Not to put down homeless people at all, not at all. But just there's a lot going on there. Let's put it that way. Yeah, one thing, yes, the Pleiadians connected to, yes, the everyday job situation. Well, it is, yes, there is kind of what you call a big brother frequency here to a certain level. The giant companies are watching people to a certain level. They're not seeing everything. So they're kind of living a bit of that. Your big box stores, your Walmarts, things like that. It has like people accept the Walmart, but it's still a big brother frequency when it comes down to, especially the way it treats employees. Well, it's like it's not something. It's like selling material items that the world probably doesn't need. Obviously, there are needs there, but it's also selling things that people don't need, and it's kind of like has its own matrix of mental control there. You can say some just go there for a sense of normalcy. Well, it's like your world is a physical realm, and you say your stores have a lot of that connected to it, and basically, it's like the human connects to anything, keep them physical, because you are going to more of a non-physical idea system, such as the alien energies here. It's like you're human, you're common man, to a certain level are going to hold. They want to, they have still a lot to learn in this physical realm. So obviously, you're going to bring in the aliens. The aliens will find their way here eventually, but they're going to have to go through what you go through. Doesn't mean they're going to get a job. Some might, but they have to go through the same ordeal as you do. Obviously, they do through reincarnation, but eventually they're going to have to go through it as an alien being. But you first have to get to the time of accepting them first, which they're going to have to go through that. And the Zetas, yes, they feel like this is their world. So that's why they're like, they want to reconnect. It's not just about their DNA evolution. It's really about just they're kind of obsessed with this place. But they feel like you're part of them, which you are. Yes, they're part of a future. There's different realities that they're connected to. So they're going to, in some ways, show up here. Not entirely. Obviously, you're using some of their technology. Some would not want to believe that, but it's true. So, I mean, they're proud about that. Your phone technology, that's Zeta. So they are proud of that. But some of them want a little bit more, meaning a physical connection eventually. In your world, obviously fight the alien frequencies at first. Like, what is this? This is kind of almost like discrimination. Eventually it'll balance down, but eventually society, the alien realms are all going to just have to, have to get along eventually. And that's what you're working towards. So that's one of the things you're working towards. Blessings.